The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I'm your host, Bill Knapik. Thanks for joining us again. If you're a newcomer, thanks for joining us right now, and reminding you, as always, go to stewart.com/radio. Just in case you want to see and hear this show again, it's simply stewart.com/radio. And also you can see past shows right there on our website, stewart.com/radio. It's about time to get down to business. Today we're going to talk to a real estate professional, a home inspector, and money, capping it all off with an insurance segment. So put your seatbelts on right now as Real Estate Matters begins with our first guest. She is Ruby Miranda, and her team is called the Queen Team. Ruby, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me today.
So here you are. You're in the real estate world. First of all, let's tell people about your company, about your team.
Well, first, I'm Ruby Miranda, the Texas Queen of Real Estate, and I am the team leader for the Queen Team, and we are a team of ladies that are rocking it in real estate.
And how's that going so far?
It's going really, really well.
As far as the area that you cover, or the way you approach your real estate profession, is it by area, or how does your team operate?
Our home base is in the LaPorte area, LaPorte Deer Park, so we will service anything within an hour drive of there. We are a team, so we do have multiple licensed agents on the team that are available to show houses, and so we try to, we kind of service everywhere. Most of us having grown up and lived in Houston for the majority of our lives, are very, very well versed in all of the city.
Well, you have a catchy title. People can't forget.
Yes.
And as you are, I'll encourage people, go to the YouTube channel after the show. That's stewart.com/radio. Ruby has her crown on right now, just like in Game of Thrones, right, Ruby?
Yes, always rocking the crown.
Well, and that's good. People in the branding part of real estate or any profession, I guess that's helped you. When did you adopt the idea?
Well, so when we first started in real estate, I was just obviously, like a lot of times, starting out, using my name, going out there. And actually, it started on our honeymoon. When I got married, I was like, well, when else could a grown woman walk around with a tiara all the time? So I decided to wear the tiara all the time for the honeymoon. And by the end of the honeymoon, everyone was referring to me as the Queen, Her Majesty, standing in line to get the picture.
Business idea right there.
Well, no, and the funny thing is, actually, I'm looking at the pictures. You go on a cruise, they take all these fancy pictures, and I looked, I was like, I love this picture. If only I didn't have the stupid tiara on. And this lady behind me, she's like, I don't know. She goes, but you could be like, what do you do for a living? So I wasn't trying to interrupt. I was like, I'm a realtor. She's like, you could be like the Queen of Real Estate. OMG. I could live every little girl's dream and wear a tiara every day. So there and then on this cruise was born the Texas Queen of Real Estate, and I started wearing the tiara. At first, I didn't wear it all the time. Now I wear it all the time for about 5 years now. And the Queen Team was just born from that, because when I started thinking of a team name, I didn't want the team to be focused just solely on Ruby Miranda as the agent. I wanted every team member to have the opportunity to build their business and their brand around the Queen Team. And so we're all queens. We do business people, and people are like, oh, the queens are here, the ladies are treat you like royalty.
That's awesome. So let's tell people, as far as you mentioned, Deer Park, LaPorte, give us an idea. First of all, LaPorte. That's called LaPorte, as it's the port. So Let's tell people a little bit about LaPorte, especially those that are listening on the internet outside of Houston. What's going on in LaPorte, and what's that area like for real estate right now?
Well, I would say, so Deer Park and LaPorte are actually really intertwined. People who kind of look, those are the two areas they'll look at. So as a whole, I'll kind of cover the two areas, because like I said, people think of those areas as a whole. And what's going on right now is we have a lot of people wanting to live in those areas. They are the education systems over there in those areas are very great. Because you have a lot of the refineries that are providing income for the schools. And so it's just a really popular area to go to. A lot of these people who are in the city, when they start pushing out, when they decide to sell their home in the city or in the outskirts of the city, they're pushing out to these suburbs, into Deer Park, into LaPorte, where you have these communities that are growing. I remember when we first moved out there, because I actually live out there. We first moved out there like 16 years ago. There wasn't a lot of stuff going on over there, and since we've been over those 16 years, they've made a lot of roads to connect the area to the major roadways to give egresses out of the area. And it's just, you've seen this development, you see all these neighborhoods popping up, new construction homes. So it's just a great area to buy in. Values have always maintained. We have several neighborhoods over there in that area that when you purchase in there, you can be guaranteed that you will not ever have trouble selling the property in the future, and that it will maintain its value and increase.
So right now, as you're helping buyers, let's say they say, hey, Ruby, I want to buy something in LaPorte. What can we expect as far as that real estate adventure? How hard is it going to be to buy a home, multiple offers, all those? Is that happening?
Definitely competitive.
Right.
Yeah, definitely competitive. Now, just as in general, it is a competitive market still. However, as we're transitioning into this balanced market, we are starting to see that the multiple offers are a little bit less. You're not having these crazy, outlandish, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 prices, and that's just recently started. Where you're not seeing those huge increases. You're having less multiple offer situation. We're actually getting more people under contract faster. So instead of them having to go out and look at putting 10 offers in, or 10, 20 offers, now they're putting in 3 to 4 and actually getting it accepted, and not having to go crazy $10, $15, $20, $30,000. So and it's not just in our area. It's overall, when you look at what's going on in the real estate industry in our area, that we are transitioning into that balanced market.
So it's a little easier than it sounds like for the buyer right now, not as maddening, not as
crazy as it was just 3 months ago.
And also, in my view, as we've talked to real estate professionals here every week, during the crazier times, it's also more work for the real estate professional, the listing agent,
yes.
and on both ends, and the buyer as well.
On both ends of it, and the reason is, one, on the showings, when you're working with buyers, when you're doing tons of traveling, you're having to advise them to put in these higher offers to be able to get accepted, terms that are crazier terms in there, and crazier in the sense that things that maybe traditionally we'd ask for a 10-day option period, we're getting it down to like 3 to 5 days. Where you're asking for earnest money, you're putting 1% down. Now you have people putting 2 to 3% earnest money down, just to show stronger offers. So on the buyer side, and getting people to get on board with having to make these stronger offers and not living back in the days. And on the listing side, getting sellers to realize that even if you're going to ultimately get a price over your listing price, you can't start at that crazy price. Because when you start at that crazy price, then people aren't necessarily looking at your house. So they still have to market it.
There's a psychology to the pricing. That's why people need a real estate professional in any market.
Yeah, they still got to put it in the right price range, and then from there, if it's priced correctly, that's where you're going to get those multiple offers. People are like, oh, it's priced right, let me put it multiple offers. But you have sellers that are, because they're seeing what's going on and they're following the national news, and they're like, oh, I'm going to get a crazy offer anyways. Let me put it over $20,000, $30,000 though when you're asking, and you have to bring them down and let them know, hey, that's not beneficial, because then you're losing market.
It has to make sense.
Has to make sense.
Price it right in any market. That's
Absolutely.
the key. One of the things I saw, you have a YouTube channel, so people can go to Ruby Miranda,
yes,
right, for your YouTube
Ruby
channel.
Miranda Realtor, yep.
And one of the things I liked, you had a section or a video about the 3 myths of real estate right now. Tell people about that. There's 3. I have them written there, but you have them in your head.
I'm like, can I see your cheat sheet?
Oh, there you go.
See, what are the things to talk about?
Number 1,
waiting for prices to come down.
So people are saying that right now.
Yes, they say they want to wait for prices to come down. Well, here's the thing when it comes to that. Prices are not going to come down overnight. They're not going to even come down by next year.
And we don't know if they're going to come down. That's the mystery.
We don't have a crystal ball to detect them, and people are going based on the fact that prices went up so high these past couple of years. They're like, oh, well, obviously it's going to continue to go up. There's not a guarantee.
You don't know.
And when you look at real estate, has always been very, very cyclical. So you look at it and you see we're at a peak right now. You're at the peak. So are they willing to take that gamble that they're going to come down? And here's a couple of things. A lot of times they say that they don't want to, they want it to come down because interest rates are high, value rates will come down. Well, the thing is, you can't go back in time and get today's values next year. So by not purchasing a home now, you are leaving money on the table, potential equity on the table that you're going to build over these next couple of years. And taking that interest rates that are today, that are right now, you will always be able to refinance in the future.
Myth number 2.
What was myth number 2?
I just saw your
20% down.
Do I need to put 20% down?
No, you do not need 20% down. If you're a VA buyer, you can still get in with 0% down. FHA, you're looking at 3.5%, and on conventional, you still get in at 5%. So it is absolutely a myth that people are thinking they have to have that 20% down. Now, if you have 20% down, that's fabulous because then you get rid of that PMI. That brings your payment down overall.
But you don't
have to.
Myth number 3.
What is myth number 3 that we had here? There's
This
no
is your list
inventory.
now, Ruby.
I know. I make the videos. I put them out there. Hey,
It goes out there. Just
Yes.
saying. There's no inventory. Is that a myth?
That is actually a myth because there is inventory coming out of the market every day, every week, every month. It's just that you need to be pre-qualified and ready to put an offer on a house the minute that a property comes on the market because they are going fast. Because there are a lot of people that realize that they still have to take advantage of today's market because the best time to buy was several years ago. The second best time to buy, right now.
That's like planting a tree. We've heard that many times.
Exactly.
Also, as we have a minute and a half in this segment left, what else do you want people to know about what you're doing in your company?
Well, one of the things that we're doing, and I definitely want people to know, is one of the things that we do to set us apart from other companies in the area is we do our very heavy on video marketing. Right now, it's not like it used to be. People would say, "Hey, honey, let's drive around this weekend, see what's for sale, see what signs are out there." That's not how it is anymore. Now, they're sitting on the couch, scrolling through all the apps. "Hey, babe, look at this, look at this, look at this video, look at this walkthrough." And so one of the things
Video
that sets us
really
apart,
helps.
Yeah, one of the things that sets us apart is we're very big on video marketing because we want to be where the consumer is at. And where's the consumer right now? Online. So that's what's going to set us apart is that when people are looking at our videos, they're going to see us and they're going to see our content. They're going to see our walkthrough videos, our listing tours, and they're going to get a lot more exposure.
And once again, you could see Ruby's YouTube channel, Ruby Miranda. You know what my favorite video was?
Which one?
The one on macaroni and cheese.
Oh my gosh, I love mac and cheese.
And mac and cheese is awesome anyway. And I was going to recommend there's a place here not far from this studio, Jonathan's The Rub. He has a macaroni and cheese with 4 different cheeses, a secret recipe. You would love that. So I'll tell you about that. I'll tell you about that after the show. Let's tell people you are Ruby Miranda. Ruby, how can people reach you?
You can go to our website, My Texas Castle. You can Google the Texas Queen of Real Estate, Ruby Miranda, or you can call me on my cell phone at 832-830-2055. Shoot me a text, shoot me a video even, and say hi.
And the phone number again, slower is?
832-830-2055 or mytexascastle.com.
Thank you so much, Ruby Miranda.
Thank you so much.
Let's talk money. We have Cliff Saunders. He's with Cross Country Mortgage. Cliff, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Bill. I'm glad to be here.
Money. You know, everybody needs money. We hear a lot about rates rising, but first, before we talk about that, let's tell people about your company, Cross Country Mortgage.
Awesome. Well, my name is Clifton Saunders. I'm with Cross Country Mortgage. I've been a loan originator for over 17 years, and we pride ourselves in helping people find that money because the cash is king, but not everybody has it, and that's how we help them get it.
And not only that, in the mortgage world, there are so many types of loans, too. On that note, how do you know which kind of loan or offer people, whether it's a family, an individual, how do you know which loan is right for a certain circumstance for a real estate transaction?
Well, the first thing I like to tell people is, when you're pre-qualifying someone, I go through a little process, and I love to call it CIA. We check credit, income, and assets. No background check, so don't worry about that. But when we're going through somebody and we're getting them qualified, we look at their credit first off. The credit doesn't need to be perfect. That's a myth, thinking you got to have great credit, Typically, people can get qualified as low as a 580 credit score. Above 620 is better, right? But then once you know what their credit score is like, you look at their income. Their income determines what type of or how much of a house they're going to qualify for, or if they also qualify for any programs. So we're going to talk about some of the first-time buyer programs out there. And then once we know how much income they qualify for or how much house they qualify for based on their income, then we know how much money they need. Since I know their credit and their income, then I can pinpoint what type of loan I'm going to be putting them on, whether it's a VA loan or conventional or an FHA, and then I can calculate how much money they need down. And they don't need a large down payment, and sometimes they can get down payment assistance that will even cover some of that. So once we go through that, then that's what we choose the best product for them.
And on the note of the money down, you could put 20% down or less in cases. However, if someone wants to put down 50%, that's fine too, right?
Oh, yeah.
They'll pay it off quicker.
Oh, yeah. Except for those well, I'll give you a little tip out there. Those cash buyers out there, I always tell them, why don't they just put 20% down and go buy 5 properties?
Well, that happens too. Well,
yeah.
And you probably work with investors as well.
Oh, yeah. We help first-time buyers through investors, different types of programs out there. There's hundreds of programs available for people because not everybody's the same.
And give people an idea where your office is and then the area that you're serving as people are listening here to the show.
Yeah, my office is right there in Deer Park, LaPorte area. You know, we service that area, but as a lender, I'm licensed in Texas and Louisiana. One of my loan officers on my team's licensed in California, but our primary business is anywhere in Texas if they're trying to get a primary residence loan in Texas.
And of course, we heard every day has been different. The rates were going up. And then I saw a couple articles where the rates are coming back down.
They're up and down.
And then this morning they're up again a little bit, it seems like. So give us an idea about the rates and how is that, if it's even affecting your business in any way? Well,
it hasn't affected that much. I think more along the lines because we work with a lot of real estate agents and we do a lot of purchase transactions. I'm not a primarily refinance. And I know it's affected a lot of people where their main business is doing nothing but refinances. But working with realtors and first-time buyers and investors, they're going to keep buying even with rates going up. So yeah, rates gone up have made the cost of buying a house more expensive, but it's still a great opportunity because the appreciation of houses are rising. So it's still a no-brainer because rates go up and go down. In 17 years, I've seen rates come up this high and then they drop right back down and they go back up and they come back down. So we know it's a cycle that we can predict. And so it's not something that's a big concern for me, you know.
And your company is called Cross Country Mortgage. Give us an idea of some of your company distinctions that you offer.
Well, the great thing about us is we are a national company. Like me, I mostly work in Texas, but our company does work in all 50 states. We're one of the big top 10 lenders out there. So, you know, we have great products. You know, we do a lot of in-house products as well, where basically we underwrite, we process, we do everything in-house, which allows us to give you a faster, cleaner service that allows you to get to closing much quicker. And especially in this competitive market, they want people who can close fast, knows what they're doing, and they're going to get the deal done. And that's what our company offers.
And going back to the down payment, when you see, let's say, the last 10 transactions, where has the on average, where have you seen the down payment? Has it been 20 or a little less? Or what?
Definitely less than that. I've got all kinds of different people like that, but on an average, when I ran it last year, I remember the average down payment that I seen was about 10% because we got a lot of clients who put 20% down, and then we have a lot of clients who put 3% to 5% down. You know, so the average you see is 10 because you have a lot of investors who are buying 20% down, and then you got a lot of first-time buyers who are getting in with none, you know, to 3% down in some cases.
That's a good point. Going back to the investors, what activity are you seeing now this week and last week with investors? Any changes there? What's happening?
Oh, yeah. Investors are still buying up houses like crazy. I'm an investor myself, and so we know we want to build your net worth. So there's a lot of investors who get into real estate, you know, because they know with the values, with the market rising, not only with the interest rates rising, well, the average rents are rising. So it's a good investment. So they know rents are going to rise, values are going to rise. It's a great opportunity to buy a house now, especially with the average appreciation. I think year over year right now, it's been about 15 to 20%. It's been crazy.
No, it's been crazy.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, where's it going to go from here, right?
I don't think
no
it's
one
gonna
knows,
stop.
but
I don't, here, and I got a lot of customers that are buying houses, and I've got customers right now from New York, from California, from Florida. Texas has been such a great market. It's gone up, but I don't think to me personally, I don't think it's going to go down anytime soon because they're realizing Texas is such a great opportunity. We've been far behind as far as values have been compared to other states for a long while.
We're a bargain in many cases.
Yeah, we're a bargain, so we're seeing that rise, and we think it's going to stay there for a while, so it's a good time for you to get in and invest and buy your first investment property if you've never invested before.
As far as all the things you could be doing in life, you're in the money business, helping people, helping investors, helping people buy their first homes, their third, second,
it's always
whatever.
been my passionate, yeah.
But what got you into this profession?
Well, it's kind of a crazy story. Well, I don't know if you know this. Well, I actually got into real estate to invest a long time ago, and I actually started off as real estate. It was a late night infomercial. I was watching Carlton Sheets. I don't know if anybody remembers that. Probably
the name rings a bell, but I can't. I can't.
It's
place
like buy houses with no money down, and learning to invest. And so I actually invested in their program, and decided, you know what, I'm going to get into real estate. And I actually started off as a real estate agent when I first got in.
This was all right here in Texas?
Yeah, right here in Texas,
Okay.
right here in LaPorte Deer Park. I started off and I got into real estate. Now, I was a great real estate agent, but what I was learning was when I was doing real estate is there's a lot of bad lenders out there. You know, I had clients that were crying at the closing table because their rates were higher I'm like, well, I always joke about
They were
this.
higher than when they started the loan process?
The person didn't quote them correctly.
Oh.
Or didn't know math, and which is it's a crazy skill that you need
like
to
me.
have
I'm
when
not-
you're in
yeah.
when you're in money, right? You got to know how to add
know
and
math.
subtract. But there's a lot of lenders out there that we're running into that their rates were higher, their payment was higher, their cash to close was higher, and they're crying because now they've invested in this house and they're afraid to lose it, so they move forward. And so that's what made me kind of get into it. I was like, well, let me see what's on this lending side. And I actually went to, take my classes for lending, and I learned that it was a better fit for me because I'm a very analytical person and I'm very good at math. So whenever I'm
You're the
quoting
guy.
somebody,
Yeah.
my numbers are going to be right. That's what they hire a loan officer for. So if you tell somebody what their payment's going to be approximately, what their cash to close is, you should be right. That's what you do for a living. And what we learned was there was a lot of lenders that weren't doing it, especially because I got in right before the housing crash, and it was pretty crazy back then, but we did well, and we learned all the mistakes. I found all the mistakes that those lenders were doing, and I made that as part of my business to make sure when I'm helping first-time buyers that never happens to my first-time buyers.
So you're enjoying the money world.
Oh, yeah. We got in when the times were tough. This time is easy compared to what it was back then.
And one of the great things about math, you don't have to be good at math to know this, and that is it's simply black and white.
Yeah.
It's either this way or that way. There are no gray areas.
Sure isn't.
2 + 2 = 4, and there you go, right?
Yeah, it's super simple. Well, for people who have common sense.
Yeah, man.
But I love it, though.
You mentioned people from out of state, in this case, New York. How did that individual or family find your company, Cross Country Mortgage?
Well, now,
we're a long way from New York City.
Oh, yeah.
Or New
well,
York.
a lot of it is I get a lot of online leads from customers. Like I said, I've helped over 3,000 families buy a house in this area. So if you Google me.
People are talking about you.
Yeah, you see me on Google. I probably have over 1,000 5-star reviews throughout the internet. So I get a lot of leads, and people just say, hey, they know I do reputable. They read up all my reviews online. They know I'm going to do a good job. And a lot of them are referred from past clients and realtors. So I get a lot of referrals that way, that they just know I'm going to do a good job, and they call me up and we answer their questions. They tell me their problems. I come up with a solution, and we get them in.
The name Clifton Saunders goes far and wide, apparently.
Oh, yeah. Even farther soon.
So as far as again, let's take maybe 10 transactions. How many of them, besides the one you mentioned, are from out of state? Just curious. You getting some more?
Oh, yeah. I've got, I would say a good 20% of the clients I'm doing right now have been out of state. I've got several from California, New York, and like I said, right now at this moment that are just qualified. They're looking for houses here because compared to, I've got a customer who's trying to buy $1 million house here. Can you imagine what that $1 million house, that same house in California would probably be $5 to $7 million.
Depends
over
where
there.
it is. Yeah.
It's insane.
So it's a bargain here.
Oh, yeah.
I
definitely.
heard someone on a couple shows ago that said, and they were saying this to a realtor. They said, "Hey, I have $2 million. How many houses can I buy?"
Oh, yeah.
So it's almost like that. How much can I get per pound, right?
Yeah. Well, I have another investor, and he's a foreign national. He's actually selling one of his houses here in Houston market. He's selling it for like $350,000, and he's now going to take that, and he's going to use one of our investor cash flow loan programs where he's going to take that $300,000, and we're helping him buy 3 to 4 other properties right now that he's taking that equity to go buy more investment properties because he knows that the values are going to go up.
Sounds like a good idea to me. Cliff, before we close the segment, what else do you want people to know?
Know that I'm a lender that cares. Like I said,
Lender that cares.
Yeah, because I work a lot with first time buyers, and I love helping my first time buyers. I love working with my investors. That's great, or my second time buyers. But I'm very, very much. It's always been part of my key business is these first time buyers, showing them how that they can acquire home ownership. Like I said, I came from a family background where no one in my family owned houses before I got in real estate. Now everybody in my family owns houses, and we like helping other families get the same goal.
And apparently Ruby Miranda. Is that true?
Yeah, I've got a good inside track with her.
How about that?
Yeah, she's actually my wife. She's I'm the one who actually made her.
She's the one that's wearing the crown in the house.
Well, how does she become a queen without her king?
There you go. And Cliff, let's tell people how they can reach you, Clifton Saunders, with Cross Country Mortgage.
All right. The best way to reach me is, of course, I give out my cell phone, which is 832-830-2837. They can go to my name, which is cliftonsaunders.com, or applywithcliff.com as well. Either one of those will take them to my my site.
832-830-2837. Clifton Saunders. Thanks for being on the show, Clifton.
Thank you, Bill. It was a pleasure.
Home inspections. Let's talk to Charles Lehnhoff. He is with Secure Inspections. Hey, Charles, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And we're going to hear about your company, Secured Inspections.
Yes, absolutely.
So let's tell people, Charles, your company's called Secured Inspections. Let's tell them where you're located and a little bit about your company.
So, yeah, we'd love to talk about it. I got to appreciate Rachel and all those ladies with Stewart Title and everybody else. And, I got to thank all my right-hand people, Miss Nicole Baxley. I love her to pieces. She's kind of my go-to individual. So we're located out of Texas City. I've got a corporate office down there, and we kind of dabble around. We specialize in a lot of the beach homes, the higher-end properties in Galveston, do Brazoria. We'll go out to Freeport, a lot of the Fort Bend locations, and we go all the way up to to LaPorte and anything up into that area where we're needed pretty much.
Well, I think people have an idea of home inspections, but since you mentioned the beach homes and things like that, most people are getting their homes inspected where they're in, quote, normal areas in the city, even rural properties. But we don't get too much opportunity to talk about the beach home. And those homes have some different things to them. So let's tell people some of the differences of when you inspect one of the homes by the water. I know some of them are on stilts. Not all of them are, whatever they're called. I'll call them stilts. But let's tell people, as the home inspector, some of the things, if we're thinking about that waterfront property in Galveston or one of these other places, what are you looking for there?
Well, you do really too kind of see some crazy homes, especially like, the waterfront homes. The big thing there is a lot of the bulkhead stuff. A lot of people kind of overlook that in their real estate transactions where they'll go out and buy a boat lift house, and then they go over there and their bulkhead's failing, and they know that they've got a $15,000 expense to get that taken care of, and nobody kind of knew it was taking place. Septics are a big one out there, going in Santa Fe.
Wait. Let's go back to that bulkhead. So when you say a bulkhead is failing, what happens? Is that one of the piers that hold it up?
So that's kind of the retaining wall to kind of keep the it's the big retaining wall that kind of holds back your erosion from falling kind of into the water. A lot of people think that it's a misconception. The water is being held back, but it's really to kind of keep the erosion from going down. And so they'll get pushed forward from either some water penetration or whatever else, and they'll kind of fall flat and they'll fail. And so all of a sudden now your house starts to kind of slide down.
Not good.
Foundation starts buckling and a big thing like that. That's something that we kind of specialize in and look at and kind of follow those codes when we're looking at it to try to do that we call it an outbuilding add-on and kind of move from there. The other big thing around Galveston is, of course, these old Victorian homes. My house alone was built in
wood right there sounds like high maintenance.
It's expensive.
But there are those type of homes there.
Yeah. My own personal home built in 1895.
Wow.
And it's a lot of maintenance, I will tell you. But they balloon framed those instead of platform framed them, and so big issues with that is like fire safety stuff. So you don't have fire blocking, and the piers and the columns go all the way to the top of the home, and it creates a chimney sweep if you ever get a fire in there, and kind of sucks it up, and that's why those old homes will go up in flames so fast. So it's kind of good. We're real familiar with that and the new fire safety codes, and kind of want to call it out and say, hey, FYI, looking on the best interest of the buyer that you may have a safety issue here. Not that we don't want them to move forward. A lot of them are real easy fixes, but they do kind of need to know when you're getting involved in a 1900 turn of the century home. So
that's an old home.
Very much so, 120 years.
My goodness. So tell us about the balloon framing. Now, is that a result of being near the water, or is that just a result of when the home was built?
It's more along during the time period. You find it where instead of doing, even if it was on a slab, let's say it's a 2-story up in the Northeast, basements, up there to keep the frost line.
I'm very familiar, yes.
Oh, yeah. And
I love the basements.
Yeah, well, it's great. And it's kind of like crawl spaces here, for the beaches. But so they're more along, they erect the whole house coming upwards. So they'll take, the columns all the way down and kind of erect it all the way upwards. And then they kind of fit it together like a puzzle piece where they notch it out and they'll kind of lock it in on 3 sides like a Lego, and it'll go all the way up to the top on those high ceilings. And nowadays, even beach homes, they'll set the piers, and then they build the platform, and then they build on top of that, then set the platform, and then build on top of that. And it's a little bit safer. It's a little easier to construct, saves a little bit on costs, and kind of prevents some further along the lines damage from taking
It sounds
place.
to me like if you're looking at a home in the Galveston area or near the water, a beach home, a water home, you really need an inspector that knows those types of properties like you, Charles Lehnhoff.
That's right.
There you go. So also, and as you're talking, I'm picturing that home on the stilts or the piers. I guess we'll call it piers. And it's a home where they park their cars under. You've seen that?
Yep.
Just curious, how deep are those piers to hold up that house, roughly? Are they,
So typically they go down the same distance as they're erected upwards. It's to stabilize them. The typical new requirements, they have to be 30 feet above the sea level is typically what the new requirements are. And of course, those get adapted for floodgates and, safety parameters, which, help on your flood insurance. So, if it's sealed off, you're going to pay a higher premium on the long run. And so, it creates kind of a safety hazard for inspectors to look at. And so, yeah, they're down pretty far. And I have seen, they'll hit air pockets. I had a friend who watched the column get sucked right down and hit a pocket, and then they lost the column and had to reset the house. So it's definitely a technique in terms of getting those ready to go.
A whole bunch of different considerations there. Also, there's a wind factor as well. If you're near the ocean, the Gulf, you have a wind situation anywhere where there's a home, but certainly right there by the water, that could be another thing where those piers have to be accommodating wind loads as well as flooding and things like that. All right, let's go back to the normal home, if there is such a thing. There probably is somewhere, but by and large, as you look at homes and inspect them all the time, let's take, again, the last 10 homes that you've inspected. Is there one thing that keeps coming up? Is it the air conditioner, the foundation, or something else that on those 10 reports that you've just done that, there's that again?
There's really two of, I'd say there's about three of them, and I will tell you, real estate agents hate this to death, is the roof fasteners. They all need to be sealed correctly, and you always find them unsealed, and you always got to call it and say, hey, you need to get up and seal your roof. It keeps them from backing out and losing your shingles out in the wind, especially, on the Gulf Coast with the heavy wind sets. The other thing I would say that I see all the time is this big conversion over from the old Freon and air conditioners. The EPA said no more R22 in the beginning of 2020. And so as these old units end up failing, you can't get a lot of the materials to replace them correctly. And so now you got to convert over to a new unit. And, it could cost the homeowner going in buying an old unit. Oh, it works great. Got good differentials on it. But then it fails. And it's like, well, you didn't know this but 6 months ago. And now you have an $8,000 expense to get a new unit put in. And we see that a lot. That's probably about 50% of the older homes, anything in the 80s and 90s coming forward. And I would typically say the other big thing is the changes to the electrical codes, tamper-resistant outlet, over circuit protectors in the breaker boxes. The new homes are all putting a service panel and then a distribution panel, so you're getting both on the house. And so those new code sets are a big safety hazard. That was the update, and some of the municipalities are starting to adopt them, and that's kind of where we're going from there.
How often are you seeing homes that, in going on the electrical aspect of the home, how often are you seeing where there's car charging stations? That's going to be popular if not already, but do you see it?
It's typically more in the higher end homes. I don't think we can all afford a Tesla just yet. I'd say 1 in 20 I'm seeing charging stations added, or the Tesla adapter or third party adapter with, Kia having their own, and I think Volvo's got one now rolled out, and it is interesting to inspect. I will tell you that.
Yeah, and I'm thinking too that for homes or people that buy the electric cars down the road, their existing electrical setup may not accommodate that, so they're going to have to go to an electrician, add something, maybe a new breaker bar. I don't know,
right,
but more things down the road with that. What are some of the other things you want people to know as far as the inspection, or to understand when you're ready to inspect a home, whether it's a realtor that's part of the transaction or the individual? If I'm buying the home and I say, hey, Charles, I want you to inspect this home, but how do we prepare for that? And because sometimes the reports are so official, it could scare the buyer.
That's true. That's absolutely true. You see,
I scare easy anyway.
We see this all the time where inspectors come out and they write. I follow behind a lot of inspectors. I've got to kind of go in and say, hey, that's no big deal. For me and us, we like to write just a general summary. I'll write a 30, 40, 50-page report, but I really want to tell them, on the major issues, no worry about it, but focus on more of the summary that are key importance that could be major costs. A lot of these things like backflow preventers on pipes, and that's not really a big deal, and it's $5 at Home Depot, but it could really scare somebody because it backflows and in the water systems and stuff like that. And
let's go back to your home a second. Your home was built again when
1895,
and it's in Galveston.
It is in Galveston, on Broadway in Galveston.
And did you do the inspection on that when you bought it, or were you even in the business? What did that inspection report look like?
That
Just
inspection
curious.
report basically looked at the appraisal and said I can make money on this. And then when I started to tear back and look at more and things, I knew it was a good investment because the foundation was solid, and
that many years ago.
Yeah, and so I kind of knew that even if it cost me a full remodel, I'd still kind of go from there. And I loved it, like that old style and tearing off.
And you still live there?
I'm still there.
How do you still enjoy the home?
It's great. Like I'm still working on the we just redid the architectural stairway on the front and stuff like that. And
sounds awesome. Before we close the segment, Charles Lehnhoff with Secured Inspections. What else should we know?
So I appreciate you having us here. I'm Dr. Charles Lehnhoff, but I always say to my clients, don't call me doctor. You guys can reach me at Secured Inspections. We are fantastic. We're customer service based a lot. 832-396-9870. Info at securedinspections.com. I'll throw it out there. If you need my corporate cell number, it's 409-203-3372. And even if you just have questions and you want to talk, I'm more than happy to talk about it with anybody, agents, clients, mortgage lenders, title, whoever needs to contact us, we're there for you.
That's Dr. Charles Lehnhoff, 409-203-3372.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for being on the show.
I appreciate it.
If you're a real estate professional, then listen closely. Cyber criminals are targeting our industry. They are impersonating real estate professionals, homebuyers, sellers, and title agents. Their goal is to gain access to your inboxes, computers, and clients so they can steal information and funds. Does your business insurance offset these risks? Not sure? Contact Stewart Insurance to determine if your business is properly insured. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.
Real Estate Matters would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance. With a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers, Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks. Here he is again, John Bramblett with Stewart Insurance. John, here we go.
Hey, Bill, nice to see you.
Well, awesome again. Today we're covering so many bases: home inspections, real estate, money, and now, of course, insurance fits with everything, every show. It's amazing.
Absolutely. So just glad to be here with you and spend some time with our listeners again.
As always. And we're enjoying the new studio. I know I am. And isn't it fun? We got a window
Absolutely.
And everything.
Got a window. We got Will still with us, so life is good.
And I bet everyone in this room has an insurance policy or two on their home and their car, so we share that in common with our fellow humankind.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Today, I'd like to talk a little bit about why an errors and emissions plan is important.
I was wondering.
I knew you were asking about that.
The many listeners are too.
Absolutely.
Why is it important?
So think about it in terms of a doctor and they have a medical malpractice insurance. So if a doctor has a claim stating that maybe they did the wrong site surgery, or they misdiagnosed something, or there was an error during surgery, or medication error. So any types of potential wrongdoing, the doctor needs some sort of backup to help with the defense costs if there's a claim against the physician. And for businesses in general and real estate professionals in particular, an errors and omissions, or sometimes you'll hear it called professional liability plan, provides that backup in case there's a claim against an individual. So whether you're a real estate broker or a property manager or real estate agent, independent title attorney agent, mortgage lender, having that errors and omissions coverage is a great backup.
And if people didn't already know it, your company provides that. And also, you talk people through it and answer the questions, because many questions come up in cases like this.
Absolutely. So if you just think about all the conversations that you have as a real estate professional with your clients or prospective clients throughout the day, if you think about all the different data points that you handle, if you think about all the intricacies and how complicated these processes are, there's going to be a time when somebody feels like that you haven't held up your professional end of the task, that you haven't done your job, that you haven't delivered what you said you were going to deliver as a professional. And when that happens and a claim is filed, you're going to have defense costs regardless. Even if it's a fraudulent or a frivolous claim, you're still going to have defense costs. So do you want to incur that, or would you like to have some support from an insurance partner to help to cover some of those defense costs and potentially some of the damages that the error may have caused?
And things are changing in the real estate contract, so the more pages they add, there's another page to have a potential mistake, the more systems and procedures and forms and things that the real estate professional, whether it's a realtor or someone or a broker, the more things they do, those are more opportunities. And like you're saying, even property management, a lot of realtors don't start out in property management, but then they go to it, there's more exposure.
Absolutely. I mean, it all goes back to different ways that somebody could be dissatisfied. And once they're dissatisfied and they file a claim, then there's an issue there. And we're even seeing more and more where individuals are saying that the contract is not right, or the contract was not clear, or the contract didn't represent me well. So it really just kind of goes back to making sure that you've got that backup in case there is an issue. I'll give you an example from the real estate world. Let's say that you're a broker and agent, and I'm helping Bill sell his home, and we accept an offer for your home. So Bill's excited. We're going to sell
out
the
of
home.
the multiple offers that I received. That's the best one.
So as your seller's agent, I get a call from another broker. Hey, John, what did you think about my offer? What offer? Well, I emailed you an offer. I didn't see it. So I go back in my email, and it's in my spam folder. And it's an offer that's $20,000 more than what we accepted. And the offer came...
And there was cash maybe.
Well,
or whatever.
It was $20,000 more, and the offer came prior to accepting the previous offer. Now, you've cost them $20,000. If your client is understanding, you might be able to negotiate something. If your client is not understanding and they file suit, how are you going to cover those defense costs?
Sure, it'd be nice to have some insurance.
Absolutely. So talk to Stewart Insurance about an errors and omissions plan.
Well, again, it's like anything you need to, as a professional, the more things you're doing, and not only the voluminous aspects of what you're doing, adding papers to the contract, another form that needs to be signed. We talked about homes in water areas. There's probably extra forms there and things like that. But it's also the pace that's happening right now.
Absolutely.
So some of us in the real estate world, not me necessarily, but some of us are a bit frazzled as they go through the transactions.
Well, but you're right. It's the pace. It's the number of offers that are potentially taking place on a piece of property. And then also, as you said, geography. So if I'm an agent in, let's say, if for our listeners in Houston, the Houston Heights, there are going to be some requirements and some nuances about buying and selling a home in the Heights that's going to be different than buying or selling a home in Galveston or buying and selling a home in Conroe. So if I'm not sure that I truly understand that market, but I'm going ahead and representing clients in markets that I may not fully understand, again, that gives me a little bit of comfort level in case I do make a mistake.
So we have to be protected. the right insurance is just another tool that we use to go forth and do business and to also protect our business. And if, let's say, we're a broker, to protect those that work with us.
Absolutely. And there's some cases where brokers will provide errors and omissions coverage for the agents that are part of their team. And there's some instances that are not. So I have clients that are brokers that they'll cover their agents, and I have clients that are independent agents that their broker does not provide that, and so they have their own errors and omissions plan.
So, John, let's tell people, what else do you want them to know about this topic? This is very important because as we go forth, we do want to make sure that we have all the right levels of protection, and also, like everything else in insurance, you tailor it to the needs. It's not necessarily one plan fits all. We may not want all the coverage, but we may need a certain amount. It works like that, right?
Absolutely. So it's all going to ultimately comes down to what's the amount of risk that you're willing to take versus what's the amount of risk that you'd like to place on the insurance partner. The insurance company is going to come back and see about how risky your business is. And based upon that, then we'll figure out what that premium would be, what the potential deductibles would be, what coverage they might or might not provide. So what I would suggest, Bill, is that we listen next week and we can talk about some of the specific elements that are in an errors and omissions plan.
That sounds pretty good. And not only that, we want to remind people that if you're here in Houston, Texas, Stewart Insurance is here to serve you. However, many people, we mentioned New York earlier in the show, but many people in the United States still reach out to Stewart Insurance, whether you're in New York, Houston, Texas, Idaho, whatever. You're helping people all over.
Absolutely. We help people all across the U.S. We've got clients in New York and California, Florida, the Midwest. So we're here to make sure that all of our clients are properly insured, whether it's your home plan and auto plan, wind and flood, or your errors and omissions for your real estate business.
You want to be properly insured. That's the goal. And who doesn't want to be properly insured?
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's making sure that you understand the coverage that you have and how you're protected, how much risk you're placing on the insurance partner versus how much risk you're taking yourself. And if you understand that and you're comfortable with that situation, then in our world, you're properly insured.
In fact, I was at an event, you won't believe this, the other week, and someone said, well, I don't want to be properly insured. He started listening to the show. Guess what? He's turned a 180. He wants to be properly insured, a regular listener, probably going to reach out to Stewart Insurance right now at your phone number.
866-798-2827. We would love to visit with him at 866-798-2827.
One more time, just for the fun of it.
866-798-2827.
And StewartInsurance.com. Ladies and gentlemen, John Bramblett. Thank you, John. We can't wait for next week. It's a cliffhanger.
It's a cliffhanger. Looking forward to it, Bill.
We'll see you then. Stewart Title. We have business development officers all over the Houston area. In fact, all over the United States. We have two of them with us right now, Clarissa and Rachel. Clarissa, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you again. This is my second time here.
How about that?
Still as nervous as the first time.
Really? Well, that's awesome. Let's tell people about the office that you cover, first of all.
I cover the Gulf Freeway office. It is off of Featherwood Drive and the Fuquay exit on 45.
It's right, that busy 45.
Yes.
I was at that office years ago. It was busy back then.
It is still busy.
Still busy,
yes.
But it's easy on and easy off, if I recall.
Yes. I think it's a great location. The one thing I really want, hopefully up the flagpole later, I can get a sign because no one knows
have a
where
sign
they
there?
are. No.
Even though that location has been there for many, many years.
Yeah, a million years.
So let's tell people, how are things at your office there?
They are fabulous. We are kind of reorganizing and reshifting right now in the office, but everything's still going great. I would actually like to take this time today to pay tribute to one of our colleagues, and more than a colleague, she was our dear friend, Karen Simmerhansel. She passed away last weekend. She has been with Stewart Title for 46 years.
Wow.
She started when she was 18 years old. She was a true Stewart Title trooper.
And that's incredible to have that longevity, and we will miss her in what she has done for the company. But I also want to point out that kind of longevity is not that uncommon. We have people that have been with the company over 35 years plus, and Karen, what was her role with the company? Let's tell people.
Her role, was the front desk receptionist for a few years. Then she became a BDO. For about 20 years, the market crashed, and she sadly had to be back in the front desk. But
I think I met her when I was there that one time. Now that you mention it,
hair.
I just now remembered when you said reception at the reception area and her name Karen. Yes, I think I met her.
Yes, everyone loved her. She was fabulous. We're definitely going to miss her. The thing that was really hard about this is that we didn't know she was going to pass. So we didn't prepare for it. We didn't get to say bye-bye. And
Karen will be missed. And her over 40 years of dedication and loyalty to Stewart Title, certainly our thoughts and prayers are with her and her family. Well, thank you for mentioning that. Also, if someone wants to close at your office right there, now that you've been there, how many months are you with the company?
With the company, almost 11. As a BDO, 5.
And if someone wants to reach out to you, Clarissa,
346-479-5387. 346-479-5387.
Thank you so much. Here she is, Rachel, also our business development officer. She put the show to you. Were the casting director here today, Rachel, right?
Yeah, we put on a good show, I think.
How about that? We're covering many aspects of real estate. And let's tell people, your office, again, we're reminding people where you're at.
I'm down in Pearland and Friendswood, so they can reach me anytime. I'm here to help.
Pearland and Friendswood. We have so many interesting areas around Houston, north, south, east, and west. And those are one of the very popular areas. That Friendswood, Friendswood, it sounds like they're friendly down there, right?
It really is. You drive in there, you're like, man, I want to be here. It's so friendly.
Yeah, in fact, I've heard a lot of people when they first came from other states or other cities, Friendswood, I know at least 3 cases where Friendswood was the first stop that they lived, and then they went to live somewhere else later.
Yeah, I used to live in Friendswood, actually.
Just like you, right?
Yeah.
Also, you have events. Clarissa has events going on. One of them is Biz and Burgers, right?
Yep, Biz and Burgers.
Is that a regular deal?
It is. We try to do it at least on a monthly basis. I think we are not having one in June, but we will have one July 13th.
Now, can you get macaroni and cheese if you go to that? Because we know someone that likes a good macaroni and cheese.
If they have it as an option, absolutely.
All right, then. Rachel Saunders, let's tell people how they can reach you.
They can call me at 832-418-4778.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stay close to your Stewart Title Business Development Officer. That's just simple advice. And as we close the show, we're bringing back Ruby Miranda. Ruby, so one last quick word. Let's tell people anything else that you forgot to say that you may want to say, or if not, just give them your phone number.
Nothing else. Hey, what I can say is reach out to me at 832-830-2055. And we can even meet up if you want one of my fancy pens. It has a little crown on it, so you can always remember to work with the Queen team when it comes to your real estate needs.
In fact, I've been enjoying that pen here for the last 30 minutes. I also want to say that phone number a little bit slower, 832-830-2055. 830-2055, right?
You got it.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Ruby,
you.
Miranda, and here he is, Clifton Saunders, Cross Country Mortgage. A final word there, Cliff. Right. Let's tell people, Cross Country Mortgage, people need a loan. They can call you, right?
Yeah, call me, Clifton Saunders, Cross Country Mortgage. My phone number is 832-830-2837.
And one more time?
832-830-2837.
And right about now, everybody's different, what they put down, their credit rating, but give us an idea. The show wouldn't be complete with what's the interest rate? What's the range anyway? I know you hate that question.
Yeah, well, because it's a loaded question. It matters on their details. But you see rates right now are great credit. You're talking about high 4s, low 5s, you're seeing. But it's not so bad. And guess what? It's only temporary. When rates go down next year, we'll be talking again to refinance them.
It's like everything else. Things go up, things go down. And thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Knapik. Simply go to stewart.com/radio. That's right. You could see this show. You can also hear it. You can hear past episodes. So, on behalf of John Bramblett, Tom Carpentier, Larry Warren, simply go to stewart.com/radio. radio. Be a regular listener. We appreciate that. Tell others. And also stay close to your Stewart Title Business Development Officer, not only here in Houston, but all over the United States. We're an international company traded on the stock exchange as STC. We have business development people all over the United States. Thanks for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. We'll see you next week.